everyone, I'm so glad that you're here today. We are going to be looking at layered die cuts, but we're going to add layered heat embossing on top of these. And I have a tool that I don't think that you have seen that you need to try because it makes this a lot easier. Make sure if you haven't done it yet that you hit the like and subscribe, and we'll get right into this video. Today we're going to use the Dappled Effects Trio, and this comes with coral, pink, and peach. These colors look great together, and they inspired me to do die cuts and create some flowers with them. So we're going to layer some embossing powder, lots of fun with die cuts today. So I took the WOW embossing pad and took it directly to a piece of paper, and here's how those colors look. Now see how I overlapped a little bit? That actually inspired me to do some extra embossing on these flowers. So I'm going to start by cutting out our layers, and we're going to be using this Altenew African Daisy Craft a Flower. It comes with 3 layers of each of the flowers, and see how they put them in different colors? Generally that's what I follow. The background layer is the darkest and it moves to the lightest. So I'm going to use these colors the same way, but we are also going to use some embossing layering to create a little bit more texture and excitement in these flowers. When I realized that I was going to do 3 full flowers, I did end up embossing some more pages so that I'll be able to cut out all the pieces that I need. So I'm going to get these cut out, and then I'm going to show you how we layer our embossing to add extra cute detail to these. So these are the lightest layer of my flowers, and I'm taking the WOW embossing fluid in its little applicator brush right here, and I'm putting this in the middle of my flowers, and then I'm going to add the coral. So I've put all of that on the middle and just kind of painted randomly. I just want this to be like the middle of the flower is darker, and this will be the most seen part of our flowers because this will be our top layer, because like I said, with the Altenew pack, I'm going to go from dark to light. So this is my lightest one, and now I'm going to shake these off, and you'll see some places I may have missed, but it just looks cool. If you want to add a little bit more or tap your brush in the middle to make sure you get more, you can do several layers. So what I'm going to do is use my brush to brush away any spots that I don't need, and then we're going to heat this up. And it doesn't take very long. It's a light layer, and you don't want to mess up your other embossing. So just get it till right when it's melted. Look at that. Doesn't that look cool? I think that looks like a perfect flower, and I'm not super worried about that middle spot because I know I'm going to take a little pearl or something and make it the absolute center of my flower. So if you don't have your center completely covered with this embossing powder, it doesn't really matter. It's more about getting the petals to look the way you want them. So I'm going to finish these flowers, and then once I've got all of these heat embossed, we are going to layer the flowers in the set, and I'm going to show you an easy way to do that. This set has a layering guide, so not very difficult, and we'll get our flowers layered together, and then we're going to work on the rest of this card. So I have these laid out how they're going to layer, darkest on the bottom, and then I'm going to go, so that darkest is the coral, and then I'm going to take the pink in the middle, and then our really fun double heat embossed layer is going to be the front of it. So with these, you could glue them if you want when you're sticking something to a heat embossed panel. It is a little more slippery, I feel like, so I'm going to use just some double-sided adhesive from a tape roller, and that usually helps me get these on and not move them around. And here's how these are going to look. There's so much dimension. They look so cool. And then like I said, we're going to put something in the middle. I'm going to use some pearls and stick them in the middle, and it's going to make this flower look so realistic. Okay, and here's how all 3 of those look. It's so cute. And we're going to add something to the middle. I did find some pink paper, so I just decided I wanted to go all out pink on this card. I have some pink confetti here that's just slightly pink colored, and then 2 colors of pink cardstock that I found that coordinate well with this embossing powder. So I'm going to use these. I've gone on and cut my panels to the appropriate size. This white piece is a double-sided adhesive foam layer, and I'm going to use that for my shaker. I grabbed a circle die from a Spellbinders nesting set, and I'm going to use this to cut the window of my shaker card. Now that front window, I'm going to have some embossing on the front here that is from an embossing folder, but I'm going to go ahead and cut the circle out before I emboss. I do this sometimes just because I feel like it gives me great results, and I don't have to worry that I am flattening the embossing down once I cut for, so if you do it backwards, if you cut the hole after you've embossed it in this folder, then you're flattening the embossing while you send it back through a die cutter. So I do the hole first, then I do the embossing. Next, we need to add some acetate to this window so that it will have a clear front, and we'll be able to put our shaker pieces behind it. So I'm cutting down a piece of acetate to the size that I need. You don't have to be super neat with this. You just need to make sure it's going to cover that hole and leave you enough space to adhere it to the back. So when you're adhering acetate, I always suggest using double-sided adhesive, because if you use glue, it could squish out onto your acetate window and cause you some trouble. Once I have this taped all around, I'm going to remove the backing and I'm going to add my piece of acetate. So I'm just using something to get the backing right here off. You could also use a tape runner. Probably would go a lot faster. I just used this double-sided adhesive. I knew it was a strong one, and I probably could have done that faster. But now I'm going to add my piece of acetate. Now, to create the lifted effect that a shaker card needs so the pieces can move, you can use foam tape. I'm using this double-sided adhesive foam and just cutting the same circle out so that it's all one piece. It just makes it faster, and you know that it's a complete circle. You don't have to try to take your little strips and match them up so that there's no holes for the shaker pieces to go. You just pull the adhesive off the back, and this is nice when you've got a shape that you can cut from the foam. These foam squares come in specific sizes. This one's an A2 size, so it makes it super easy. And then I just place the foam around that, and it becomes my shaker window. So here's generally what this is going to look like. I've got that darker pink. I'm going to use this Get Well Soon because I do not have enough Get Well cards, and I thought this would be something that would definitely cheer people up. I'm going to use the gold embossing powder and die cut this sentiment. So that's the polished gold. And so I've got my front panel here, and I decided I'm going to use this mixed media WOW brush, and I'm going to also add a little gold around the edges of this panel. So I'm just going to paint this on in like a little line around the panel, and then I'm going to add the gold embossing powder, polished gold embossing powder, and heat it up so that we have kind of a gold frame around what we're using here. And you just tap off the excess and it leaves this nice little line of gold. So I'm going to show you what this looks like heated up. I did do it in sections around this, and I'm going to heat it up all at one time. So now I'm going to go along and heat it, and look, it gives that beautiful polished gold along the edges. Look how beautiful that gold looks. I just love it. So now we need to add some powder to the back of this little shaker window, and that's just to keep these things from sticking to the sides. So I'm just using a powder tool. Next, I'm going to add my sequins right in the middle of the back. I do that. I don't add them in and try to put the back over the top. It's easier to line things up when you have them already in that area. And with this one, it's pretty easy. You know, it's right in the center. After that, we can kind of lay out our design, go ahead and stick our flowers down. We'll add our Get Well Soon, and then we're going to put some embellishments on the middle of these flowers. Look at how cute that's looking. Wasn't that so much fun? So now I'm going to add these matte gold embellishments that look like pearls, and they just really look really good with this polished gold that I'm using on the sentiment and around the edge of the card. Look how good that looks. It's so fun for a shaker. I sure hope that this would make somebody feel a whole lot better if they were sick or down, and you could change this sentiment up to anything that you wanted to use. Thanks so much for joining me on my channel today. I hope you enjoyed these layered heat embossing and the layered die cuts. It gives this cards so much dimension, and it's going to be a huge wow factor when the person that I made this for opens it. I think it's really going to make their day and hopefully make them feel a whole lot better. So I enjoyed having you here. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, and make sure if you're looking for any of the products, you go through the links in the description below. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.